ties to Tampa are facing federal charges tonight. They're at the center of what investigators are calling a multi-million-dollar conspiracy involving money laundering, forced labor, and abuse. This follows multiple FBI raids this morning, including at a home in the affluent Avalon neighborhood in Hillsborough County. This was part of a nationwide takedown. Fox 13 is covering this investigation from multiple angles. Our Kylie Jones is at the federal courthouse in Tampa, diving deeper into the church and its leaders. But we begin with Aaron Mesmer live in Avila with more on the raid and reaction from neighbors. Aaron.
Yeah, Haley, and these neighbors were absolutely stunned by what went on this morning. Neighbors in this community, they woke up to helicopters and FBI agents raiding a home in Avila. And once they found out why those federal agents were there, it was even more surprising.
Some of you say, I don't have 100,000, but you have 20,000. You have 50,000 here, or you have 10,000.
That's video of David Taylor asking viewers to send money to his church. Federal authorities now say Taylor used donations to fund an extravagant lifestyle that included this massive mansion in Tampa's affluent Avila community. FBI agents raided the home Wednesday morning.
It's very surprising to hear that type of thing was going on again right in your backyard.
It's unclear what authorities took from the home. This view from Skyfox shows several cars lined up with gift bows on top. Neighbors say the 10-bedroom, 10.5-bathroom, 28,000 square foot mansion is one of the largest in Avila.
Because there was like, how could a pastor afford to live in a house like that?
According to the 23-page federal indictment, this house is one of several properties throughout the country purchased by Taylor's Kingdom of God Global Church. He's the pastor and referred to himself as an apostle, according to court documents. The indictment alleges Taylor recruited people to work at call centers, referring to them as armor bearers. Investigators say they were his, quote, personal servants who fulfilled Taylor's demands around the clock and were never paid. Taylor and Executive Director Michelle Brannon are accused of controlling nearly every aspect of the workers' lives, cutting them off from family and forcing them to take contraceptives. Human trafficking advocates say it's a devastating situation.
And you really had every aspect of human trafficking. You had individuals who were, brought to a facility that they couldn't leave. They weren't being paid. They had production goals that they had to meet.
And authorities say if the workers failed to reach Taylor's monetary goals, they faced punishment, including public humiliation, food and shelter restrictions, sleep deprivations, and physical and psychological abuse. The Crisis Center of Tampa Bay's CEO says these victims will likely face a long recovery. She says there's another lesson every community can learn from this.
This can happen in one of our most affluent zip codes in Hillsborough County. It can happen in your backyard. It can happen in my backyard.
As for the folks who lived with alleged human trafficking, fraud, and money laundering happening in their backyards.
I hope it's not true, but if it is, he deserves everything he's going to get.
And there was also what appeared to be a federal command center set up just north of here at St. Joseph's Hospital in Lutz. Experts say if there were any human trafficking victims at this property, they likely would have been taken to a nearby hospital for care. Haley?
Let's hope they can get all the help they need. It sounds like they have been through quite a lot. Aaron, thank you.
Breaking news.
Okay, we have one comment that says, who would give them that type of money? And that's something I like to talk about. Who would actually give them that type of money? Like, how could you be so in love with someone that you all are donating thousands and thousands of dollars? He's asking for 50,000, 10,000. Any church should be able to show the programs that they have are working, that they're initiating in the community. If it's not working, if you don't see any results, you do not give. And that's that. Like, I can't believe this. And look at them. They've scammed people out of money. Like, you can't believe these people. Let's go.
Here's a look at a joint FBI operation today spanning hundreds of miles from Michigan to Durham all the way down to Florida.
Those raids put two self-professed religious leaders in custody accused in a forced labor and money laundering scheme. CBS 17 has exclusive video in Durham that shows that raid that happened early this morning. Warrants show that the two forced people to be their personal servants and they had to sleep where they worked.
CBS 17's Ben Boken was the first reporter on the scene. And Ben, you've been there all day watching agents come in and out.
you mentioned it earlier today. FBI agents walked in and out of the building behind me with boxes and evidence in hand. And right now, you could still see part of the fence where those agents busted through early this morning. But we talked to the next door neighbors to this property, and they tell us they thought something was suspicious, but they never thought FBI agents would come knocking on the door. One of two suspects who claim to be religious leaders and are allegedly tied to a human trafficking ring arrested Wednesday in Durham during an FBI raid. Surveillance video you're seeing first on CBS 17 shows the moment agents pulled up to the front door with guns drawn.
David Taylor, all residents of 2523 South Miami Boulevard. This is the FBI with a warrant for this location. Everybody in the house needs to come to the front door with their empty hands in the air.
53-year-old David Taylor of Durham is now charged in a forced labor and money laundering conspiracy investigation that agents say affected people in Michigan, Florida, Texas, and Missouri. A neighbor of his on South Miami Boulevard tells us about 50 would show up here each day.
I always suspected some stuff about them because they were always carrying black bags, a lot of food, and I was like, why are they ordering a lot of food, taking a lot of trash?
In the indictment, Taylor is listed as a leader of Kingdom of God Global Church. 56-year-old Michelle Brannon, listed as an executive director, was also arrested Thursday during a raid in Tampa, Florida, captured in this drone video. Authorities say victims worked in call centers around the country for long hours without pay. Those investigators also tell us if victims disobeyed or failed to reach monetary goals, the suspects punished the victims. The indictment says the church received $50 million nationwide since 2014 through its call center operations.
There were sometimes that they actually dressed up nice with their stuff, like jewelry, shoes, and all stuff like that. I was like, oh, okay. I guess they work for something good.
The indictment also alleges Taylor would put workers on various fasts, including a 21-day peanut butter and jelly regiment. Women were allegedly transported to Taylor's location and forced to take Plan B emergency contraceptives.
We were really scared, to be honest, because we never suspected something like that from him. When he said he was a pastor and all stuff like that.
Now, the indictment says that the suspects use most of the donations to purchase luxury properties, vehicles, and sporting goods. Now, if they're convicted, they could face up to 20 to 60 years in prison. We're live here in Durham. Ben Boken, CBS 17 News.
All right, Ben, thank you so much.
Now, here's my question. How would you all feel if the FBI raided your house, or better yet, raided a neighbor's house? I don't know how I would feel about living there. It's like, what is happening? And it's just so unfortunate that the people who follow these people are not going to feel lost. They're going to feel discouraged. You know, sometimes this would turn people away from any type of religion. And it's just so unfortunate that something like this will happen. But I don't know about the FBI coming into my neighborhood. I think I would be a little bit upset and scared. Let's keep watching.
Also new tonight, an elaborate religious human trafficking case that spans the country but starts in Taylor.
And let's get right to Fox News. Charlie Linkton joining us live from one of 3 properties raided by the feds today. What did you learn here, Charlie?
Well, we learned a lot. First of all, this is a big indictment that came down here. 10 counts, mostly, though, about human trafficking. There's some money laundering in here. But let me tell you, I'm at the Kingdom of God Global Church in Taylor, Michigan. That's it right there. It's a huge place where a lot has happened over the course of the year. You can see state police are here. FBI is here. But take a look at this guy, though. This guy's name is David Taylor. He is the subject of this. He's 53 years old. He says he owns these call centers. That's what they're called, not only here, but in Tampa and Houston as well. He also says, at least according to the indictment, he is an apostle, and Jesus is his best friend. He also has multiple face-to-face encounters with God. Now, this this center here is called the call center, where he got what they call armor bearers. These are people that live and work here. They're unpaid, they're sleep deprived, and they must obey Taylor's orders, or if they defy God, they'll be punished. This is all part of the indictment. Now, he also says that he wants women to come in here, not only to take care of him, and then he makes them have a Plan B emergency contraception. All in all, they raised about $50 million in donations from 2014. Now, to show you a little video over here of some reaction from people around the country that are affected by this guy, Taylor. Take a look.
It's not just happening right here in Tampa. It's Ocala. It was really all over the country. So this was an incredible network, if you will, that generated significant profit for the individuals that were engaging in the trafficking. So I think if there's any lesson for all of us is that this truly can happen in any community, anywhere in our country.
How could a pastor afford to live in a house like that? I mean, even some of the people who live there couldn't afford to live in that particular house in there.
All right, now what did he do with all this money? Well, he lived in an elaborate lifestyle, as you saw from Tampa. That's a huge 28,000 square foot mansion. He also bought Bentleys and Mercedes-Benz and a whole bunch of other things. He was arrested in North Carolina, and then he likely will be brought up here in Michigan. That's not decided yet. If he is convicted of the most serious charge, although they're all 20-year felonies. Wow. I am live here in Taylor. I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, and then these followers donate money, trusted in faith, and they trust their pastor, their reverend, whomever, the leaders of the church, and they hope that they're doing the right thing, and then you see something like this. What can be done about it? What are they saying, Charlie?
Well, these are people that were apparently, I want to say brainwashed for lack of a better word, but this is a human trafficking case. He got these people into his church. He would not let them leave. And if they did try to leave, he would punish them physically, sexually, etc. He also said that they had to get a social welfare, like food stamps, and they had to bring them to the church. I mean, this is a human trafficking case as much as it is a money laundering case. In fact, more so, it's human trafficking with a religious tone. I mean, this is very severe, and it's not just here in Michigan, it's across the country. Definitely more on this story.
Yeah, it makes it even more disturbing. Charlie, thanks for the report.
Federal agents.
Okay, before we start the next video, I just want to know, what are the adult responsibilities? Like, if someone is requesting that you go and get SNAP benefits, that is a red flag for me. That means something is not right. And why would you engage in this? Like, this should have been clear. And then you're bringing women to him, trafficking. That should have been a red flag. So at some point, as an adult, you have to think for yourself. You can't allow people like this to control your mind. But anyway, this is just insane. Let's keep listening to what else they're reporting. Let's see what else.
Swarmed the campus of a North Houston church. Two of its pastors are now accused of running a $50 million labor trafficking and money laundering scheme. KPRC2 reporter Rochelle Turner is outside Joshua Media Ministries International with what investigators say was happening behind closed doors.
Federal prosecutors say the two leaders solicited donations and even forced followers into labor. Now, all day we've seen agents coming in and out of this campus. We spoke to a man who works next door, and he says that he noticed unusual activity at the church in the past year. He remembers trying to offer a man some water while he was cutting grass, but says he just looked away. Drone video shows a bird's eye view of the JMMI Global Campus for Harvest off the North Freeway in North Houston. The property belongs to the Kingdom of God Global Church. On Wednesday, a heavy law enforcement presence surrounded the facility. FBI agents moving in and out for hours. Sean Oakland works next door at City Electric Supply and says the scene didn't shock him.
I rolled up and I saw a lot of cars parked in the street right here, and we had probably about 6-7 cops in here, and I pretty much knew right away what it was. When I first started working here, they let me know that there's a cult right behind us, and I was wondering what that was about. I thought they were messing with me, and I looked up the name and saw the owner, his previous indictments and everything, and walked inside. I was like, y'all weren't joking, huh?
Federal prosecutors say ministry leaders David Taylor and Michelle Brannon ran call centers in Michigan, Florida, Texas, and Missouri. They're accused of forcing followers to work long hours for little or no pay, pressuring them to meet steep donation quotas. Victims reportedly lived in ministry housing or even slept inside those call centers with their movements strictly controlled.
They would have people cut this big field of grass with a push mower. And they would be out here for 8 hours a day. I mean, from sun up, sundown, and I don't know, whenever I leave, I don't know what happens, but they were here the whole time I was here. And we always joked that it was punishment, and now reading all this stuff, the unpaid labor, I'm sure it was.
According to a 10-count federal indictment, Taylor, who called himself an apostle, required some followers known as armor bearers to serve him around the clock. Prosecutors allege they transported women to him and in some cases were told to take emergency contraceptives. Oakland says strange things were common, like unmarked cars and armed guards on the property.
Big stages in the back, no one's ever on them, set up with pictures of people's faces and a curtain where you couldn't really see what's going on. People peeping in and out of windows, only time we ever really saw people.
Taylor was arrested in North Carolina, Brannon in Florida. Both are expected to make their first court appearances very soon. Investigators say this is only the beginning, and they're urging anyone who may be victimized to come forward. Reporting in North Houston, I'm Rochelle Turner, KPRC2 News.
Okay, so here's the thing. We all have to take accountability. I understand that people can be very influential, but that doesn't make any sense for anyone to give that type of money to them. And for these pastors, you know, I hope you get what you deserve. You have abused your power, and that's not fair to the people who came to support or who thought they were doing their Christian duties. So everyone, let me know what you think. I wonder, will the people get their money back? How does that work? Like, if you're donating to something for a cause, but yet the people are abusing it and purchasing these lavish homes and a boat, like, what are they doing, baptizing somebody or something? So do you get your money back? How does that work? Anyway, you all, let's get the discussion going in the comment section. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this story. And again, remember to like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're always notified when I drop another video. And again, remain curious, stay bold, and I'll see you in the next live. Have a good evening.